just in case you need it. All right, so for the do now, this is actually to help with the Beer's Law simulation. So for the do now, I just want you to use the Beer's Law simulation handout. Really, it's just the background information to help answer these two questions. And I gave you Beer's Law. So Beer's Law is A, so capital A equals A, B, C, right? A times B times C. And all of these variables have, they represent something, and then they either have units or they're unitless. So for number one, I want to know what capital A represents. So this capital A. So really this do now is looking at the two variables that are related in Beer's Law. So for capital A, hopefully you said that is absorbance. So Beer's Law is absorbance equals the molar absorptivity constant. So it's a constant, times B, which is path length, times C, which this will help answer number two, which is concentration. So for number one, A is absorbance. What are the units? There aren't any. So absorbance is unitless. Absorbance has no units, it's just a number. Number two, C is concentration. Concentration can be in molarity or any metric prefix before molarity. So it could be molarity, millimolar, micromolar, whatever prefix you have in front, but it has to be some sort of variation of molarity. So A is absorbance, which is unitless. C is concentration, which is some variation of molarity, right? Capital M. And then over on the side, you can see that we have the 2-hour delay schedule today. So we actually will end class, second period will end at 10:31. So if you need that schedule, you can just take a screenshot of it really quick so that way you have it. Remember that for tomorrow and Friday, you can write none or no school, write something under tomorrow and Friday, just so that you're not leaving it blank. And then at some point today, so if it's when you start working on everything, just make sure that you turn in the do now via Google Classroom. So there is already an assignment up on Google Classroom to make sure that you get that do now turned in. So then right after break, we'll start a new do now sheet. So again, just in case you missed it, number one, capital A is absorbance. What are the units? There aren't any. So absorbance is unitless. So in the simulation, if you're calculating for absorbance, your answer will just be a number. And then for number two, what is C? C represents concentration. The units are molarity or some variation of molarity. So for today, I told you guys this on Monday, but today is a work day. So just a reminder that really there are two main things that are both due in Google Classroom by 2:30. So you really have all day to work on it, but they're just due by 2:30. That way you have nothing over break. So the first thing is the Beer's Law simulation, and I just want to go through and hopefully answer some questions on this simulation. So as you work through the simulation, remember that everybody, based on your last name, will have a different substance. For example, I went through and I made this help video so R is nickel 2 chloride, right? Where A is going to be a different solution. So as you're working through the simulation, your concentration might be in micromolar or it might be in millimolar. So every solution was different based on the concentrations. Whatever unit was given in the simulation, you can use that the entire time. So you can use micromolar the entire time or millimolar. Just make sure you're paying attention to the units throughout the calculation. So if you have millimolar, then you need to make sure in the post-lab questions, if they give you molarity, that you're converting molarity to millimolar so that everything works out. If you are using millimolar, you can change your units in the data table. So where it says concentration and in parentheses it has micromolar, you can just delete the micro and put a lowercase m for milla. There is the help video that I sent via Remind. I'll put this link in the chat just so that way if you didn't have a chance to watch it, you can fast forward through, I think it's 6 minutes or so. You can fast forward just to see what I did, things like that. It's really looking at the simulation itself, how to change things. In the post-lab questions, so some questions that I had last night, questions came in through Remind. In the post-lab questions, specifically numbers 1 and 2, you have 2 ways that you can solve numbers 1 and 2, and you're solving for different variables, but you can either use the equation of the line that was given to you. So in Google Sheets, you have to create the trend line, and actually it gives you the equation. So it has something times x plus a number. That's using this y equals mx plus b. I think is that the slope intercept form? Is that what that's called? So y equals mx plus b. So y equals your slope times x plus the y-intercept. You can use that to solve for absorbance or concentration. So absorbance is on the y-axis. So the y value is absorbance. X, that's concentration because that's on the x-axis. M is your slope. Or you can use Beer's law. So the slope that is given in the problem or in the graph, which is your value of m, the slope is actually the molar absorptivity constant. So if you look at Beer's law, right, A equals ABC, A is absorbance, capital A is absorbance, and the lowercase a is that constant. That value of A, that constant, is the slope. So you can also use Beer's law. And then hopefully that's why it says if your path length was anything other than 1 centimeter, you'd have to plug in a different path length. And so that's how you can solve those questions. Then for the AP exam prep, for the reflection, as people were turning it in, I was providing some comments, so I was responding to your reflection. I did return some of them because you didn't have the scores in the yellow boxes. So if you notice that it was returned but you don't have a score, check those private comments. If you were unable to see your score, maybe the session timed out, something like that, which did happen to some people, please make a note on your reflection sheet. So somewhere on that document, just make a note that you weren't able to see your score. And then I want you to just give me the units on the topics that you think were strongest and weakest. And again, this, you're going to notice, like everyone that turned it in, if you did everything, you answered the questions, you got the 10 out of 10. This is a way for us to both see. So for you to see maybe what you need to review, for me to see where I need to spend a lot of time reviewing. For a lot of people, it was unit 3 because it was such a big unit in the AP curriculum. So just make sure you're taking a look at those private comments. Fill anything else out. You can resubmit it. As soon as it gets resubmitted, I'll give you your points. And we'll go through everything like that. And then, so before you start working, so before you guys all maybe leave the Google Meet to go work in small groups or work on your own, I just want to, so I'm going to stop sharing the screen that way, although I guess my face is going to pop up really big on your computer. And I know I see all of your guys' like just little pictures, but I just want to tell you guys, since it's the last day before break, thank you for all of your hard work this semester. I know the semester is not over yet, but right, it's kind of the first half of the year. So just thank you for all of the hard work this semester, both in person and virtually, being flexible with, you know, being in class or being online or a mix of both. You guys have just like done a great job just persevering and pushing through this crazy time. Thank you for always being ready and willing to learn, to try new things, to give me feedback, whether it works well or whether it sucked and we shouldn't do it again. And most importantly, thank you to those of you that tell me that I'm muted on the Google Meet without me realizing it. So just thank you guys for everything this semester so far. You guys have been doing a great job, and I hope that you're able to relax this break. Do not work on chemistry at all, right? That's why everything is due at 2:30. Don't work on anything chemistry. Take time to relax, rest, recharge, spend time with your family.
or just spend time on your own, whatever you are looking forward to. But I just want to tell you guys, you know, before everybody starts doing their own thing, just thank you for, you know, keeping us all going, right? We're all definitely keeping each other going. So just thank you guys for that. Yeah. So I hope you have a good break. I will stay on, I'll stay on the Google Meet to answer questions.